Most men flirt in a way that turns women off, without even knowing it. And folks, let's be real. You've probably been there. You try to flirt with a woman you like. You throw out a line you think sounds smooth, and she gives you that polite smile that basically means, no thanks. Or worse, she doesn't react at all, just silence. And you walk away wondering what you did wrong. Here's the truth, my friend. Most men flirt like boys. Women respond to flirting that feels masculine, grounded, playful, and controlled. Not needy, not overeager, not forced. And the crazy part, you don't need perfect looks. You don't need cheesy pickup lines. You don't need to act like someone you're not. What you need is the right energy behind the words, the right tone, the right frame. And when you combine that with a few precision lines that trigger a woman's instinctive attraction, she feels it instantly. Her eyes change. Her body shifts toward you. Her guard drops, even if she doesn't want it to. Today, I'm going to break down the flirting lines that actually work. The ones grounded in psychology, presence, and masculine confidence. Lines that spark desire without trying too hard and make her feel like you're the man in the room she's paying attention to. You're about to understand flirting on a deeper level than 99% of men. Let's get into it. Number 1. The tease that sparks instant desire. Folks, let's talk about the kind of teasing that doesn't just make her smile, it makes her feel you. The type of playful line that hits her somewhere deeper than her ears. Most men have no idea how powerful a well-delivered tease can be because they're too stiff, too serious, or too focused on impressing her. But a real tease, the kind that lights that spark instantly, comes from a man who's relaxed, grounded, and fully in control of himself. Let me give you a scene you'll recognize instantly. There's Daniel, 52, a financial advisor from Colorado. Divorced, rebuilding himself, smarter and calmer than he was in his 30s. He's at a wine tasting event, invited by a co-worker. Nothing special. But across the room, there's Julia, 45, marketing director, sharp eyes, confident posture, the kind of woman who knows exactly how she looks. Daniel isn't the type to run across the room with pickup lines. He's observing, comfortable just being in his own space. And that, ironically, is why she keeps glancing his way. Eventually she walks near him, pretending to look at a bottle on the display table. Daniel glances at her, then gives a slight half-smile, calm, unbothered, and he says, "Careful, that look you're giving me might get you in trouble." Julia freezes for half a second, then she laughs, not the polite kind, but the surprised, caught off guard kind. She tucks her hair behind her ear. She shifts her weight closer. Her eyes soften. Why? Because that line wasn't about showing off. It wasn't dirty. It wasn't needy. It was light, masculine, confident, and completely playful. Most men talk to women like they're negotiating a job interview. Daniel talked to her like a man who's been through enough in life to enjoy the moment. That's the secret behind a powerful tease. It's not the words, it's the frame. A good tease rests on 3 things. First, comfort with yourself. When you're not trying to impress her, she feels safe relaxing into the moment. Second, direction. You take the conversational lead without controlling her. Third, masculine ease. Women feel tension, not speeches. A little spark, a little challenge, a little playful accusation, those things wake up her feminine energy instantly. The tease works because it tells her 2 things at once. I see you, and I'm not intimidated by what I see. That's exactly why Stoic philosophy fits here. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." A good tease only works when you're not tied to her reaction. You're not chasing validation. You're simply expressing who you are. She feels the freedom in that. She feels your steadiness. And that combination creates desire faster than compliments ever will. Think back to Daniel and Julia. After that tease, she lingered. She asked him what wine he recommended. She touched his arm lightly while laughing at something he said. She stayed near him the rest of the evening, not because he chased her, but because he created a relaxed tension she wanted to stay inside of. That's how instant desire works in real life. Now, before we move on, drop this in the comments, so I know you're paying attention. I've seen this happen. Stay with me, because the next one turns that spark into something she can't ignore. Number 2. The playful jab that pulls her in. My friend, most men misunderstand playful teasing. They either do not tease at all and stay stuck in the nice, forgettable category, or they go too hard and come across as rude, try hard, or bitter. The real power of a playful jab that pulls a woman in comes from something simple. A calm man who is amused, not impressed, and not intimidated. Women are flooded with compliments. Men tell them they are beautiful, gorgeous, stunning all day long. But when you look at her with steady eyes and say something like, "You look like trouble," or "I should probably not trust that smile," she suddenly feels you as a man, not just another admirer. You have turned the moment from performance into tension. Why does that work so well? Because you are not worshipping her, you are engaging her. You are treating her like a real person, not a glass statue. A soft jab delivered with a smile says, "I see you, and I am not afraid of you." Lan. The Stoics understood this dynamic in a different language. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." A good tease only works when you are not desperate for a reaction. You are not trying to win her approval. The jab is for your own enjoyment of the moment, not for her validation. When your energy is grounded, a playful jab does a lot more than make her laugh. It disarms her. It lowers her guard. It wakes up her feminine side because she can feel that you are steady enough to handle pushback. It creates a light friction between you, and friction is what turns a cold interaction warm. You also need to know what a playful jab is not. It is not mocking something she is insecure about. It is not attacking her appearance, her age, or her past. It is not sarcasm coming from resentment. A good jab is built around something neutral or even positive. You exaggerate a trait in a light way. If she is well-dressed, you say she looks dangerous. If she is confident, you joke that she probably gets away with everything. You tease the energy, not the wound. Delivery is everything here. Your voice has to stay relaxed. Your pace has to be slow. Your body language should be open, not leaning in like you are begging for approval. Say the line, hold the eye contact, then let silence do the work for a second. Give her room to react. If she smiles, rolls her eyes, hits your arm, or laughs while shaking her head, the jab landed exactly where it needed to. The magic is never only in the words. It is in the frame behind the words. A man who can tease lightly without losing his composure is a man who signals strength without aggression. Women feel that in their chest before they ever name it in their mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. When your thoughts are calm and playful, your teasing takes on that same color, and she will feel it." If you have ever seen a woman light up more from a playful challenge than from a plain compliment, you know what I am talking about. Now lock this in and prove to yourself that you understand it. Type this in the comments. I know this. Number 3. The line that shuts her up in the best way. My friend, there's a special kind of flirting line that doesn't make her laugh, doesn't make her tease back, and doesn't make her talk more. Instead, it stops her. It freezes her for a second. It makes her lips part, her breath slip, and her eyes lock onto you like she just felt something she wasn't ready for. That's the line that shuts her up in the best possible way. The line that hits her feminine instinct before her brain can catch up. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Picture Michael. 48, a project manager from Arizona. Recently single, calm, steady, carries himself like a man who's had enough life experience to not rush anything. He meets Lauren, 44, at a friend's backyard gathering. She's smart, warm, confident, the type who normally leads the conversation without even noticing she's doing it. At first, she talks quickly. She gestures a lot. She laughs loudly. That's her default mode. But Michael isn't like the other men she's used to. He's not scrambling to fill the silence. He's not nodding too aggressively. He's just there, present, masculine, watching her with an amused calm. And at one point, as she's rambling playfully about something, he looks at her slowly and says, "You know, you get even more interesting when you're not talking." She stops, just like that. Her eyes widen for half a second, then soften. She's caught, not offended, not confused, but shifted. Her energy drops from playful chaos to something warmer, more feminine, more aware. She looks at him differently now. A little slower, a little deeper. She touches her hair without realizing it. Because here's the secret. A line that shuts her up in the best way isn't about dominance. It's about presence. It's about a man showing her that he sees through the noise, through the performance, through the surface. And that's why it works. Women don't melt when you flatter them. They melt when you interrupt the pattern they're used to. Most men respond to female chatter with more chatter. A steady man responds with stillness. That contrast wakes something up inside her. Think about stoicism for a moment. Seneca wrote, "Silence is a lesson learned through life's many sufferings." Women can feel when a man has matured enough to be comfortable in silence, comfortable enough to look at her and shift the energy with one sentence. A line like Michael's works because, first, it resets the moment. She was in control. Suddenly, she's not. Second, it lowers her guard. She doesn't need to perform anymore. Third, it signals your standard. You like her more when she drops into her soft, feminine space. Fourth, it creates a spark of tension that sits in her chest longer than she expected. Women aren't used to men who can influence their emotional rhythm with a single line. When you do it right, you're not shutting her down, you're waking her up. After that moment, Lauren stayed closer to Michael the rest of the evening. Her voice lowered. Her movements slowed. She asked him more questions, but with a different tone, curious, warm, dialed in. That's what the right line does. It doesn't silence her. It centers her. Now, if you've ever seen a woman freeze for a second when a man's presence hit her, drop this in the comments. I felt this. Stick with me. The next one shows you how to flip her attraction instantly without trying hard. Number 4. The flirt that melts her defenses. There's a very specific kind of flirting that most men never use, my friend. Not because it's complicated, but because it requires something rare in men today. Calm confidence mixed with warmth. When you get this balance right, her defenses don't just lower, they disappear. She goes from guarded, cautious, and analytical to soft, open, and pulled toward you without fully understanding why. Let's talk about what this actually looks like. Every woman carries invisible armor. She wears it because she's been approached badly, complimented awkwardly, chased aggressively, or objectified without thought. Her guard isn't because she's cold. It's because she's learned she needs to protect her energy. But when you flirt in the right way, subtle, grounded, warm, and intentional, you send a message that bypasses every wall she has up. You create a space where she doesn't feel judged, rushed, or analyzed. She just feels seen. And that's when her defenses soften. This kind of flirting isn't about lines. It's not about being smooth or clever. It's about the energy under the words. For example, when she's telling a story and gets flustered, most men try to jump in or impress her. But a man with the right presence will smile, tilt his head slightly and say something like, "Relax, you're cute when you get worked up." Not sexual, not aggressive, just warm enough to drop her guard and warm enough to raise her temperature. She hears the words, but more importantly, she feels the frame. "I'm not here to rush you. I'm here to enjoy you." And that is exactly what melts her defenses. This is where Stoic philosophy becomes surprisingly effective. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." When your internal state is calm, steady, and anchored, your flirtation reflects that same color. She picks up on it instantly. She's not reacting to your line, she's reacting to your grounded presence. When you flirt in this warm, centered way, 4 things happen inside her. First, her guard lowers. She doesn't feel the need to defend herself or overthink. Second, her feminine energy rises. She moves out of her head and into her body. Third, she becomes more expressive. Her voice softens, her eyes warm, her posture opens. Fourth, she starts matching your tone. When a woman mirrors your warmth, that's the beginning of real attraction. But here's the crucial part. She only melts for a man who doesn't melt first. If you get flustered, needy, excited, or overly talkative, the energy collapses. The flirt works when you stay slow, playful, steady, and in control of yourself. That's the difference between flirting that bounces off her walls and flirting that slips right past them. And if you want to take this deeper past what I can say on YouTube, join the channel membership. That's where I break down the advanced principles men your age need if they want real influence in dating and relationships. Before we move on, lock this lesson in. Type in the comments, "I feel this." Let's keep going, because the next one shows you a flirt so powerful she remembers it hours later. Number 5. The push-pull that drives her crazy. My friend, if there's one dynamic that gets into a woman's mind fast, it's the push-pull done by a man who knows exactly what he's doing. Not the childish version, not the manipulative kind. I'm talking about the grown man version, calm, intentional, playful, and rooted in self-control. When you use it right, she feels a pull toward you she can't shake, even hours after you walk away. Let me show you exactly how this works in real life. Picture this. Evan, 51, an architect from Seattle, sharp dresser, quiet confidence, the kind of man who never rushes his words. One night at a dinner party, he meets Melissa, 47, divorced, stylish, charismatic, used to being the most interesting person in the room. She's used to men trying too hard. She's used to attention. What she's not used to is Evan. They start talking, light teasing, warm smiles. That initial spark is there. But here's where Evan does something most men never think to do. Women respond to flirting that feels masculine, grounded, playful, and controlled. Not needy, not overeager, not forced. And the crazy part, you don't need perfect looks. You don't need cheesy pickup lines. You don't need to act like someone you're not. What you need is the right energy behind the words, the right tone, the right frame. And when you combine that with a few precision lines that trigger a woman's instinctive attraction, she feels it instantly. Her eyes change. Right when the energy is rising and she's leaning closer, he steps back slightly. Not cold, not distant, just a slow shift that gives her space. He takes a sip of his drink, glances around the room, then looks back at her with a calm half smile. She feels that space instantly, and instead of pulling away, she leans in more. That's the push-pull. She remembers the moment he backed up. She remembers the tone in his voice and the way he didn't cling to the conversation. That's how it works on a woman's nervous system, and it hits harder for women over 35 because they're more emotionally aware, more intuitive, and far more responsive to energetic tension than young girls who only chase excitement. The push-pull works because, first, the pull sparks desire. You give her warmth, presence, eye contact, a little playful tension. Second, the push activates curiosity. She wonders what you're thinking, why you shifted, what you felt in that moment. Third, your control of the rhythm shows maturity. You're not riding her emotions, you're guiding the moment. Fourth, it drops her into her feminine energy fast. She becomes more receptive, more open, more aware of you. Stoics understood this subtle power of presence. Marcus Aurelius said, "Very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself." Push-pull works only when you're not needy, when the warmth you give comes from fullness and the space you create comes from calmness, not fear. Most men chase too much, talk too much, give too much. But the man who knows when to lean in and when to lean back, that's the man who stays on her mind long after the night ends. If you've ever felt a woman respond stronger when you didn't crowd the moment, drop this in the comments. I want this. Let's keep going. Because the next one shows you how to turn tension into something she can't walk away from. Number 6. The bold tease she can't ignore. There's a moment in flirting where you stop being interesting and become unforgettable. And that moment almost always comes from a bold tease delivered by a man who knows exactly who he is. Not reckless, not disrespectful, not crude, bold, direct, controlled. The kind of tease that makes her pause, look at you differently, and feel a little spark in her chest she wasn't expecting. Most men stay safe. They tiptoe, they overthink. Let's keep going. Because the next one shows you how to turn tension into something she can't walk away from. Something like, "See, this is why I can't trust you," with a slow smile. Or, "Don't look at me like that, it's distracting." It's confident but not aggressive. It's playful but not childish. It's masculine without being pushy. The magic comes from the tone. Slow, steady, self-assured. The bold tease only hits when your energy is grounded. If you're nervous, she'll feel the tension. If you're performative, she'll feel the effort. But if you're centered, she feels the man behind the words. This is where stoicism fits in effortlessly. Seneca said, "The greatest power is often simple patience." A bold tease isn't something you throw out randomly. It's something you wait for. You feel the moment. You sense her openness. You read her body language. And when you know the energy is right, you strike softly, confidently, intentionally. That's why the bold tease works. It shows mastery of the moment, not neediness. And when you do it right, her reaction tells you everything. She might go quiet for a second. She might smirk and look away. She might bite her lip slightly without noticing. She might challenge you back with her own line. Whatever the reaction, the message underneath is the same. She felt it. A bold tease also shifts her expectations. Most men treat her gently in a predictable way. You, on the other hand, bring something she doesn't get from everyone. A calm, masculine presence that can push the energy forward without losing control. But here's the key. The bold tease is never about shock value. It's about intention. It's about showing her that you're not afraid of tension, that you're not afraid of being seen, that you're not afraid of leading the moment. Women over 35 respond to this more strongly than younger women because they recognize emotional intelligence when they feel it. They're done with immature games. They're done with empty compliments. They're done with men who crumble under pressure. What they crave often silently is a man who can guide the moment with steady confidence, even when things get a little heated. The bold tease makes her feel alive. It makes her feel feminine. It makes her feel like the interaction has a pulse. She leans in, not because of the words, but because of the man behind them. If you've ever seen that shift in a woman when a moment suddenly turned electric, lock this lesson in and type, "I feel this." Stay with me, The next one shows you a line that sticks in her mind long after you're gone. Number 7. The line that exposes her attraction. There's always that one moment, one sentence, one subtle shift in the conversation where everything becomes clear, not because you confessed anything, but because she couldn't hide her reaction anymore. The right line spoken at the right time pulls her attraction out into the open, even if she's been trying to play it cool. And this isn't about cheesy pickup lines or rehearsed nonsense. It's about a simple, grounded statement that forces her to reveal how she really feels. The key is confidence wrapped in calmness, not in your face bravado. Let me show you how this plays out with a real-world example. Imagine Ethan, 38, grabbing a drink after work with Maya, 34. They've been friendly for months, light teasing, long eye contact, that warm buzz you feel when someone is always a little too close but never crossing the line. During their conversation, she tries to hide her interest with sarcasm, joking, "Don't flatter yourself." Ethan doesn't break eye contact. He takes a breath, leans back slightly, and says with a slow, controlled smile, "If I wanted to flatter myself, trust me, I wouldn't use you as the example." Not harsh, not rude, calm, precise, and it hits her. Maya freezes for half a second. Her cheeks lift. She looks away because suddenly she's aware of her own smile, and the moment exposes her attraction more clearly than anything else could. That's the power of this kind of line. It doesn't make her attracted, she already is. It reveals the attraction she's been holding in. Women over 35, especially, are sensitive to confidence that comes without aggression. They're drawn to a man who can handle tension without folding. They're drawn to a man who stays grounded, even when the moment heats up. And this is why a line that exposes her attraction works so well. It reflects absolute inner control. Marcus Aurelius said, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." This applies beautifully here. You're not trying to push her or corner her. You're simply expressing your truth with clarity while staying in control of your delivery. Self-discipline makes the line attractive. Your voice stays low. Your body stays still. Your eyes stay calm. She sees a man who isn't performing, he's choosing. Another example. During a playful argument, she says, "You think you're so confident, don't you?" A man who understands female psychology replies with something like, "If I wasn't, you wouldn't be here talking to me this long." Again, she laughs, looks down, nudges your arm, maybe lightly hits your chest. Every reaction is her giving herself away. When you say a line like this, everything becomes clearer. Her eyes change, her voice softens, her body turns toward you. Her jokes become gentler. She touches you more without noticing. You feel that shift, the kind you can't fake and can't deny. And here's the truth. A woman can hide interest with silence, with jokes, with distance. But she cannot hide interest when your confidence exposes it. This kind of line doesn't just reveal her attraction. It elevates the entire interaction. It creates a private tension, a shared awareness, an unspoken agreement that something is happening between you. If you've ever seen that moment when a woman's guard drops for just a second, then you already know exactly what I'm talking about. If you want to claim that energy fully, type this in the comments and anchor it into your identity. I speak boldly. Number 8. The tension builder. She feels immediately. There's a certain kind of line, not a joke, not a tease, not even a compliment, that creates instant tension in the air. The moment it leaves your mouth, she feels her breath shorten just a little, her shoulders relax, her eyes lock onto yours longer than they should. This isn't a line that tries to impress her. It's a line that makes her feel seen in a way she can't hide from. Women feel tension the moment a man communicates with certainty, not loudness, not arrogance, certainty. The kind of energy where your words have weight because you don't speak to fill silence, You speak to express intention. This aligns perfectly with Stoic philosophy. Seneca said, "Speech is the mirror of the soul." A man with a steady soul speaks in a way that naturally creates tension, because he isn't throwing words around. He knows the power behind them. And that's exactly why this kind of line hits her instantly. Picture a moment where she's teasing you lightly. Maybe she says, "You always think you're the confident one, don't you?" Most guys would laugh nervously or try to defend themselves. But the man who knows how to create tension simply lets a small smile rise, pauses for half a second, and says, "If I weren't, you wouldn't look at me the way you do." Instant tension. Notice what makes that work. You're not seeking approval. You're not trying to prove anything. You're flipping her line back with clarity and intention. She hears the words, but what she feels is the energy beneath them. And women feel energy far stronger than logic. The Stoics believed that mastery of one's inner state creates influence without force. That's the essence of this tension builder. It doesn't pressure her, it doesn't corner her. It simply creates awareness, an awareness she cannot ignore. Here's the pattern. When you drop a line like this, she doesn't react with loud excitement. She reacts with subtle shifts. Her lips part slightly. She looks at your mouth. She lowers her voice. She steps closer without realizing it. She fidgets with her jewelry or hair. She feels the pull immediately because your line did something most men never do. It created a private bubble between the two of you. Another example. She makes a joke about you being trouble. Most men deny it or play along too enthusiastically. But the tension builder reply is simple. Only for the right woman. Just 6 words. But they hit deep because they imply something she wants to believe, that she might be that woman. And suddenly, she's thinking about it. These lines don't work because they're clever. They work because they're controlled. A man who can stay grounded in a charged moment becomes magnetic. He doesn't rush. He doesn't panic. He doesn't explain himself. He lets his presence do the work, and the line simply amplifies that presence. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If your thoughts are steady, intentional, and unapologetically masculine, your words will carry the same color, and she will feel that instantly. This tension isn't an accident. It's a byproduct of emotional control. It's the echo of a man who knows who he is. And it's the spark she feels the moment your words land. If you want to anchor that energy into your identity, comment the simple phrase, "I create tension." Number 9. The flirt that shows your confidence. My friend, here's something men forget far too often. Confidence isn't in your muscles, your bank account, or the number of dates you've been on. A woman reads confidence in a single sentence you say to her. One line, one moment, one delivery. And if you get it right, she feels it in a place she can't ignore. Women aren't drawn to loud bragging or forced boldness. They're drawn to the man who can flirt with calm certainty, as if nothing about her presence shakes his center. Let me show you how this plays out in the real world. Mark, 41, works in tech. Steady life, steady income, steady rhythm. He's at a rooftop gathering in Austin, string lights, warm breeze, quiet music. Across the space, Rachel, 37, a marketing director, catches him looking her way. Not staring, not gawking, just that slow, steady acknowledgement women recognize instantly. The kind that says, "I see you, but I'm not here chasing. She walks over with a playful tone and says, "You look like a man who thinks he understands women." Most men would rush into a joke or try too hard to sound impressive, but Mark doesn't fold. He leans back slightly, keeps his voice low and says, "Not yet, but I'm enjoying the research." And just like that, she feels it, his composure, his calm, his grounded masculinity. That's the kind of flirting that hits deeper than any cheesy pickup line. She feels his confidence, not because he's loud, but because he's controlled. Women test in these moments, not because they're manipulative, but because they want to know whether the man in front of them is moved by pressure or able to stand still inside it. And a confident flirt is pressure handled with elegance. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." A confident man flirts from that truth. His words come from control of himself, not desperation for a reaction. When a woman senses that, her guard comes down, her curiosity goes up, and her attraction sharpens. Later that night, Rachel tries again, testing him lightly. She says, "You're a little dangerous, aren't you?" expecting a flustered reply. But Mark doesn't blink. "Only if you're easily tempted." The pause she gives after hearing that. That's the moment she feels his steadiness settle in her stomach. This is the power of confident flirting. It shifts the energy. Suddenly she's the one leaning in, not because he impressed her, but because he didn't try to. That balance of interest without neediness is what makes a line hit in a way she remembers long after the moment passes. Now, if you want to internalize this mindset, lock it in with a comment. Type, "I speak calmly." Stay with me, because the next part shows you the moment she stops testing you and starts choosing you. Number 10. The move that turns interest into desire. My friend, this final piece is where everything you've been learning comes together. Because interest is easy. Women feel interest for plenty of men. Men who look good, who talk well, who seem charming on the surface. But desire, that's rare, that's deeper. That's the shift she feels in her body before she admits it in her mind. And the man who knows how to create that shift is the man she can't forget. So what is the move? It's not a line, it's not a joke, it's not a compliment. It's the moment when you stop interacting with her casually and start guiding the energy between you with calm intention. Desire isn't triggered by words, it's triggered by presence. When you change your presence, you change the effect you have on her. Here's what most men get wrong. They think desire comes from doing more, talking more, impressing more, performing more. But a woman doesn't feel desire when a man does more. She feels desire when a man becomes more grounded, more deliberate, more sure of himself. That shift is subtle, but she feels it immediately. Picture this. You're sitting next to her, not too close, not too far. You both feel the tension building, but neither of you is saying it. Her voice gets softer. Your eye contact holds just a little longer. She tucks her hair behind her ear, and you notice she isn't pulling away. That's the moment most men ruin. They talk too fast. They crack a joke. They break the tension because they can't hold it. But the man she desires? He doesn't break the moment. He deepens it. He slows down his breathing, keeps his voice low, lets the silence stretch just enough to make her feel it. Then, instead of rushing, he makes one intentional move. Maybe he turns his body toward her fully. Maybe he places his hand near hers, not touching, just close enough for her to feel the warmth. Maybe he gives her a quiet line like, "You know exactly what you're doing to me right now." Not aggressive, not vulgar, not pushy, just steady, masculine intention. And because he isn't trying to guess her interest, he's responding to it. She relaxes into the moment instead of retreating. Epictetus once said, "No great thing is created suddenly." Desire works the same way. It isn't forced, it isn't grabbed, it's allowed. When you create space for attraction to breathe, instead of suffocating it with nervous energy, she feels safe stepping into that space with you. That's what transforms interest into desire, the sense that you're not desperate, not unsure, not unstable. You're simply clear. And here's another truth. Women desire men who can handle emotional tension without flinching. When she tests you and you stay steady, she respects you. When she pulls back and you remain grounded, she notices. When you guide the energy instead of chasing it, she opens. The move is simply this. You shift from playful to intentional without losing your calm. You show her through your presence that you're not afraid of closeness, that you can handle the moment, that you can lead without forcing. She desires the man who can walk into intimacy with clarity, not hesitation. And when you master that, she can't resist it because it feels real, grown, and rare. That's how you turn interest into desire. That's the breakdown, folks. 10 powerful flirting moves that don't just get her attention, they create desire, respect, and the kind of tension only a confident man can hold. If you apply even a few of these, you'll notice a real shift in how women respond to you and how you carry yourself. If you want deeper, unfiltered lessons and advanced masculine psychology, make sure you join the channel membership. You'll get access to content I can't share publicly. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a new video. Thanks for watching, my friend. I'll see you tomorrow.